Hey, everybody out in YouTube land and Spotify world.
We're back.
We're back. Welcome to 2023. How are you doing, Chad?
I'm doing great, Neal. Coming off of a wonderful holiday. It's hard to say that, as we're now the middle of January and relaxing a little bit, or recovering, I should say, from a long week at Disney last week.
It's not a bad thing.
Had a blast, man. Had a blast. I'm really excited about this episode, though.
I am too. Let's do our intro, and then we'll get in it with Ronnie Knuckles.
Recorded live from Louisville, it's Talk About Town, the Louisville podcast. And now, your hosts, Neal Cox and Chad Hennessy.
Hey, Ron White here. I'm nowhere to be found. You're listening to Talk About Town, like I give a...
All right, we're here in the studio today with Ronnie Knuckles. And
hey, nice to be here. Appreciate you guys having me.
Thanks, Ronnie.
yeah, and it's funny, Louisville is that small town in a big city where I know Ronnie multiple ways now, and I've probably only known him 2 or 3 years max now.
Yeah. We haven't known each other long, but we've touched base at different times and different avenues.
Yeah, which I think is cool. I first met him really just online on Facebook. I think one thing, I did a small business calendar, and I was soliciting some small businesses. Just, hey, let's do some promotion. This was 2022.
Yep.
And he said, I'm in. And I said, I love it.
Yeah.
And you would be so surprised how many people balk at free promotion. It's so weird.
Hey, it doesn't make sense because, any promotion is better than no promotion.
That's right.
And, I know the calendar. Obviously, I was in it as well. So,
Yep.
Cool.
yeah.
I did one this year. If anyone wants one, they're free. I'll send you one. I know we're a little bit into the year now, but I did a themed one this year. It's all pet-centered businesses.
I love
That's
it.
cool. I
Yeah.
like that.
And they're sitting at almost every register of feeder supply right now.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah, we handed a bunch of them out too, and I don't understand why you wouldn't take advantage of that either. It's free, organic, local marketing.
Yeah.
I jumped all over that.
Well, we look at it as an opportunity, much the same. I'm the client of a marketing company for my business. They don't give me clients; they give me opportunities.
Correct.
And same thing with you go out, you do a calendar, opportunities. I've hired Ronnie's company now multiple times because they do a great job. So let's at least chat about that, because Ronnie wears a lot of hats.
That's what, as we were getting started, I was asking, hey, tell me a little bit about what you're in. It sounds like you got a couple of avenues you play in.
Yeah, I'm in a lot of different things. So to Neal's point, I run a local junk removal company. So I started that back in 2018. We're based just in Louisville right now, maybe looking to expand at some point. We'll see. But for now, we're still working on getting this market under control. And then I also own a digital marketing agency. So we build and rank websites for local service businesses. I serve on the board of directors for Veterans Club Kentucky. And I also still work full-time as an engineering manager. So at some point soon, I'm going to have to take an iron out of the fire.
Are you at Rollins?
I'm in a company called Amerisource Burger.
Amerisource Burger. That's right. I had some clients recently that also worked there.
Oh, cool.
And I couldn't, and we connected oh yeah, I know Ronnie.
Oh, I think maybe you mentioned that to me.
I couldn't remember which one it was, because I had same thing happen with someone that worked at Rollins Group.
Yeah. Actually, I remember that now. He was a manager at the Louisville Distribution Center. I'm actually at one in Bullitt County. So
Gotcha.
But yeah, so I do wear a lot of hats. I'm a busy guy. I try to make sure I'm intentional and disciplined and get it all done. And I've been blessed in a lot of ways and have a lot of good people and support to make sure we get it done.
You also said there's another little job at home, too, with a couple of little ones, huh?
Yeah. So I have a really good wife. I'll start with that. She does a really good job of managing that. But yeah, we've got 3 kids under 5, a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 5-year-old.
That's awesome, man.
We were chatting about that earlier, and I've got 3 kids as well, but they can take themselves to the bathroom. We're not in car seats, all that kind of stuff, and it gives me flashback to those days.
Long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once they can hold their head up straight, it gets a little easier. So we finally gotten to that point. So we got one more in diapers, and then we'll be out of that
There
stage.
you go.
So
there you go.
Yep. So, how'd you get into the junk stuff? Did you just kind of like, hey, I'm going to do a junk business?
So when I got out of the Marine Corps, I was, I went back to college and kind of progressed through this world of working for other companies and got into some leadership positions. And but I'd always kind of wanted to do my own thing, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And I had an automotive background. I'd gotten a vocational degree, and but I didn't really want to work on cars and start my own shop. And so one day, my mom had a bunch of junk in the backyard and had scheduled with one of the bigger junk removal franchises in the world. They're in, like 50 different countries.
We don't have to mention them.
I won't mention their name, but it wouldn't be hard to figure that out. So I had asked her what they had charged, and she told me, and I'm like, well, I could do that in my pickup. Like, no big deal. I could do that, before I even knew what I was getting into. And I actually had a cousin who was a franchisee for another company, a veteran-owned company, one of the bigger veteran-owned brands. And so he started talking to me about becoming a franchisee, and I started looking at the fees and all of that. I'm like, dude, I could do this myself.
Yeah.
And so I started out trying to figure out what I was going to call it. I'm a veteran, but I didn't really want it to be veteran branded. Sure. I don't know. For me, it was like, I didn't want that to be the identity. But I was writing a paper for college, and like 3 a.m., I'm like, Sergeant Junket. I was a sergeant. And I'm like, well, we're going to roll with this because that's a good name. And so, fast forward, here we are. Sometimes I think maybe going with the franchise might have been a better option, but we've gotten to this place now where we don't have all of this. We don't have to pay royalties and all these other things. And so we're getting to a place now where it seems like those struggles are starting to pay off, and we're getting a lot more grounded, and we have a good foundation. So
nice.
That's kind of the story of that piece.
Do you look from a junk, obviously people they're clearing whatever it may be, but I'm in the insurance business. So for instance, a house catches fire and it's the rubble and the cleanup. Is that somebody do you deal with restoration companies? Do you deal with, how do you market yourself?
We do deal with some restoration companies, but we have to be careful because there are certain licensing required for,
Gotcha.
If a material was burned, it can give off certain chemicals.
Gotcha.
And so, we're not necessarily trained in that. Now, if there were materials in that home that aren't totally burned, we'll come in and remove those. So we do those types of jobs. But a lot of what it is direct to residential customer.
Gotcha.
So, and we also try to target realtors and commercial property management groups. And you guys probably know this, but a lot of those are coming from out of state, or, they're out of country and they've got a local firm and they kind of send people in to manage those properties. So those are a little harder to target. But we are working with, I would say, probably 20 property management groups. And then just, I can't even count the number of realtors. But realtors use us kind of one-off, once every 6 months or so. So that's more of a numbers game.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, I had this property that I was listing, and it was a divorce situation, and neither of the couple wanted to have be invested in this stuff and clearing it out. And both of them were kind of like, you can sell the house, but we ain't moving stuff out.
Yeah.
So I called Ronnie, and it was a pretty big job. It was, I think, a multi-day job.
Yeah, it was. It took us about a day and a half. I actually had to come out on that job myself. That was the last job I've ever had to come out on.
Oh, wow.
We've had multiple bigger ones since then, but we actually, from that point forward, we kind of got really grounded, had some really good team members, and I haven't had to go out and be on a truck anymore. But I remember that job. It was kind of sad a little bit because they had left all their stuff behind.
That is sad.
It was. There was tons of usable stuff.
Right.
And it's like I took a couple things this might as well not throw this in the junk pile. And I think even some of your guys rescued some stuff, but there was just so much usable stuff that it had nowhere to go.
Yeah, there was. We donated a lot of stuff off that job. So that's something else we try to do. We don't just want to throw. There are some items that technically they're usable, but the donation places won't take them. But I remember we donated probably a quarter of a truckload off that job. So
it was nuts.
Yeah.
And I was kind of wondering how the heck you run that business with also having a W-2 type job. But I think you answered that is you're not on the truck anymore.
Yeah. Well, I ran it for a long time with a W-2 job.
Wow. I don't know how you do that.
Well, honestly, looking back, I'm not sure how I pulled it off either, but so when I started, I would get up at about 4 a.m. and I would work jobs from 5 p.m. till 10 p.m. Monday through Friday and all day on Saturday. This is, I was running ads on Craigslist, right? Using a truck and a utility trailer. And then eventually, maybe 3 or 4 months later, we got a box truck. which made life a little easier.
Yep.
But I would go to the dump by myself and unload a 16-foot box truck and then drive my box truck into work at a major distribution center. They never asked any questions, luckily.
Yeah.
But so I did that for probably 6 months, and then I realized if I'm going to be successful in my day job, I need to hire someone. And that was a rocky road for a lot of years, getting someone that I could really trust to manage and run the business. And I learned a lot of hard lessons. And about a year and a half ago, the clouds kind of parted, and we got some good team members, and that's totally changed the game.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's about the time that I started using you, I think, was with those guys, and you had some dedicated dudes that came up. They were friendly and knew what they were doing.
Yeah, and actually, so both of one of them, Mike, is still on the team. Cedric was on the team, but he got in a really bad accident, lost his leg, and not at work, but on his way to work one morning.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's still part of the team. Like, we all still talk to him and stuff. But Mike and Cedric kind of set that foundation. And having team members in a junk removal business to stick around for a year, it's a physical job, is not very common.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's been great.
If you get people that you can trust, it allows you to work your day job per se, and you're just confident that it's getting done, that you don't have to physically be there all the time. That's just a game changer.
It is, and I'm still able to answer the phones from my job. I have quote unquote office job now, so my dad answers the phones most of the time. But when he can't, I can fill it in and we get it done. So
It's great having Pops on board to help out.
It's awesome. He's retired, so I put him to work.
Yeah, I've wondered about jobs like that, like. I'm firmly middle aged now, and I'm noticing I'm going to go clean out the garage today. Whereas 10 years ago, sure, all day, let's do it. Mm-hmm. That ain't the case anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a little picky and choosy with your time. Time becomes more valuable at that point.
Yeah, and that's really our target customer. We're not looking for an 18-year-old kid that's got he's got an apartment on a campus somewhere, whatever. We're looking for people that are middle-aged and they've got a little extra money, and they're like, we do not want to deal with this. But first, you got to figure out, you're going to go rent a U-Haul truck and load it yourself and take it to the dump. By the time you do that, it's going to cost you $150 anyway. Yep. We could have it done for $250, and you save all that time. So
it's a way to do it.
Yeah.
So then another hat, digital marketing.
Right.
How'd you get into that? Because that's a whole separate industry.
It is, and it kind of came to fruition through the junk removal industry. So I had been working with a marketing group here in Louisville, and they were great guys, and they had really good intent, but we weren't getting results. And I gave them a long time. I gave them 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And so finally, I'm like, okay, something's got to give. And Surgeon Junket was getting to a place where it was becoming a little more automated. We'd had our systems in place, and I thought, what better thing to do than learn how to do it myself? And so I bought into a course, and it took me probably 3 or 4 months to finish. It's like it's like an accelerated associate's program in digital marketing. Okay. Is the best way to think about that. Mm-hmm. And it took a lot of time, a lot of effort. I was doing it while I was at work, whenever we weren't super busy, and then the evenings. Anyway, I completed that, and I have a foot in the door in the junk removal industry because I've been in the game for a while. And so I'm in a lot of Facebook groups. So I started partnering with some guys in this digital marketing group and found out that I was pretty good at it. Started doing this stuff on Surgeon Junket's website. We went from page 5 to page 1 to the top 3 organically. It took about 4 months. And so I thought, well, this works, so I'm going to start selling it. And I got into those junk removal groups and started who wants a free website review? I'll review your website. Right? I'm providing you some value, much like the calendar, right?
Yep, that's right.
I'm giving you some value in exchange to hopefully be able to give you a pitch at the end. And so that started to work. Actually, they usually say that you only get about 10 requests for screencast, which is a website review, for every 100 asks. I got 43 requests off one ask.
Dang.
And I got 5 clients on my first Facebook post. And so from there, I'm like, okay, here we go.
Let's roll.
Yeah. And so we kept on rocking. And, today we've probably got about 20 clients spread up and down the United States. I'm actually building a website for one of the biggest rock stars in the world who I can't name.
Awesome.
But, it's
probably a lot of fun.
Oh, man, it is. And it's awesome because every client is unique and different, and they all want different things. And so it's not like I'm just building template websites. We're building custom, nice websites. And I've got a contractor now who's helping me design them. And, man, it's
Do
been
they
great.
have to provide content
We ask them to provide photos. Now we can do stock photos, but it doesn't garner as much organic traffic than say, a guy loading junk into a truck with his logo on the back of his shirt.
Yeah.
So we ask them to do that, 15 to 20 pictures, and then we put them in place. But if they can't, we can still get it going for them.
So, I mean, obviously, by having a big star competing even with the local or the industry itself, Facebook groups with like junk haulers, are you targeting any other group, or is it just mainly, hey, I got this digital platform, I can review your website? Is it almost open to anybody?
Yeah, I mean, we build websites for anyone.
Awesome.
We really like to target service-based businesses because the idea, we can build a website for anyone, but we want to rank that website. We're looking for long-term clients that we can provide value to, almost like renting a home, right? Except they're renting us their digital marketing, and so they're going to pay us X amount of dollars per month to continue to rank that site for them. Because at the end of the day, we've got to trick Google to get the site up on the first page. That's what we're doing, and it takes work. But it's like a rent model, essentially. Now, if they decide they want to move on to someone else, we would withdraw from that. And unless they picked up with another marketer or they went back and did it themselves, they likely wouldn't hold that ranking. And we're not doing that to keep them on the hook, but that's the reality of digital marketing today. They'll still rank higher than they would when they started, but it's a continuous effort because everybody is competing for that first page in those top 3 spots. Yeah. And if you let off the gas, you're going to fall back.
And the parameters change too. If you go through a associate's degree type course for marketing, it might not even be the same environment from when you start to when you finish.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's changing month to month right now. Google algorithms change right now about 2 times a year. Google tries to stay ahead of the game. They actually just had an algorithm change not too long ago, and it affected our clients. They dipped in ranking for probably a month or 2 until we kind of got adjusted to what the algorithm change was, and now they're back to actually higher than where they were before.
Do you have staff or?
So it's me and one other guy, and so we do all the work. He does most of the work on the backside, and then I do a lot of the design stuff and a lot of client. I handle all client interaction for now because I'm kind of well versed in that, and then eventually we're going to get someone else that can do that and drive sales on the side. Awesome. Still trying to figure out how to structure that, but we're getting there.
Did you, so not to be too technical, so I've got a side hustle that we were running Facebook ads, and it was literally about to become $1 million business, and then Apple changed how they let people opt out of sharing their data with third parties, and Facebook ads can't find people like it could before. Did you have to deal with any of that?
So right now, in the junk removal industry specifically, 99% of our clients are junk removal clients minus the big rock star, right? Junk removal and Facebook don't work well together. Now, we can run Facebook ads. However, we generally reserve that unless you are you've been around for a while, right? And you can absorb some loss because Facebook ads for a home services business, junk removal specifically, is more about branding and less about direct client interaction.
Yep.
So Facebook and Instagram, those are emotional platforms. So it's a dude scrolling at lunch, and you have to have some emotional attachment to grab his attention to click on your ad. Doesn't work as well for junk removal. Whereas with Google, if they're going and searching,
right, I need a junk removal.
Yeah, junk removal near me, junk removal Louisville, whatever the case might be. It's a lot easier to capture and target that. But yes, I've heard that from a lot of people about Facebook. And that's something we don't really lean on much, unless it's a very I want Facebook ads, and then we're pretty clear okay, we're not recommending this. However, we'll manage it for you,
right?
If that's what your heart desires.
Well, it's real funny. It's something I've been thinking of because my side hustle, we've been pivoting after that now for nearly 2 years. But I also, my main advertisement in my main business of real estate is Facebook ads too. And that's very, it's dead on that it's emotional because most of what I post Doesn't even have to do with real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got some very creative posts too. The political sign, or it's like, I'm not running for office. I'm just trying to sell a house or whatever. I saw that running, scrolling through my Facebook, and I'm like, that's brilliant. But if you're going to run Facebook ads, you have to be creative like that.
You have to stand out.
Yeah. And so for us, we're not going to create this content for our clients. I mean, you're talking thousands of dollars a month. We would if it were a big client.
Yeah.
But we would ask that for our clients. Hey, we need you to create this content, and we'll manage the backside of the ad.
Yeah.
And most clients don't have the time to get creative. They're looking for us to give them the ideas. So that's why we kind of lean more toward the Google advertising.
Mm-hmm. So I'm a client of a company. I didn't come up with the political sign myself.
Yeah.
I just executed it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. And it's, real estate is a really, really good spot to be in for Facebook advertising and all that sort of stuff. It works much better in real estate than it would like a home service business.
It's funny. There's an agent, and I won't be very specific, but it's an agent that does a lot of business. But I started seeing some of his Facebook ads now, and I'm like, oh man, you need some help here. He does a lot of stuff. It's not a knock on him. It's just like whoever, I don't know if it was him or someone else.
Yeah.
Right. Who's running him through that?
Yeah. It's like you need something more.
Yeah. As we get a creative team in place, a year or two from now, we'll probably begin to do that. But right now, it's not really in our deck of cards to do it effectively. And if I'm going to do something, I want to do it right.
Absolutely.
And, I don't just want to have clients and kind of half-ass their stuff.
Well, I do want to pivot kind of to your veteran journey and your work with Veterans Club. Mm-hmm. But first, this is just an actual question. Plans to leave the W-2 job at any time?
Yeah, so pretty soon.
Okay.
I can't get too much into detail.
Okay.
But there are plans in place pretty soon to make that happen.
Okay.
I would say in 90 days or less.
Oh,
probably.
wow.
So,
Congratulations. That's great.
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I got to keep it a little hush hush for now, but we're getting close. So.
Well, it's okay. We're not going to upload this to a internationally
We'll make sure your
accessible
employer is
audience.
copied on.
Everyone I wouldn't want to know is right here. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
What is your military background?
Yeah, man. So I joined the Marine Corps when I was 17. I'm an only child. So my mom and dad had to sign the papers. And I went in to boot camp right after I turned 18, deployed to Afghanistan that same year, came back, got married and divorced within 6 months, and went back to Afghanistan. Anyway, I ended up...
Afghanistan's probably better than a bad marriage.
Yeah, dude. Hey, look, I loved Afghanistan. I know a lot of guys don't want to say that, but the truth is, I loved being deployed, especially as a Marine. You want to be deployed. That's what you were built
That's what you
for.
signed up for.
Right. And I was in a really cool unit. I was a radio operator, but I was attached to a rocket artillery unit. So we got to have fun and not be getting shot at every day.
Yep.
So that was a nice experience, I would say.
How often would you blow shit up just for fun?
Well, for fun, not very often, but as a job, pretty much every day. We were engaged, especially in country. It was very active at that time. And so we were pretty heavily engaged.
What years were you over there?
So I went there in 2010, 2011. So if you look up the Battle of Sangin, we were heavily engaged in that little skirmish there. Little skirmish is being sarcastic. But
Yes.
we were heavily engaged in that. And then I went back. I was home for maybe 6 months. They had a reserve unit that wasn't ready, and so they spun us back up. We went back in 2012.
Okay.
Are you still active duty?
No, I got out in 2013.
You're out. Okay.
Yeah, I was active duty for 4 years and then 4 inactive. And after my 4 years was up, I was done.
Gotcha.
So,
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
And so now you do a lot of work with veterans.
Yeah, so that actually came about through Sergeant Junket. And so Hurricane Laura had hit Louisiana back in 2020, height of COVID. And we had a dump truck and a box truck and a pretty good team. And I thought, let's send supplies down there. Let's just get a bunch of supplies and send them down there, just kind of on a whim. And I had put a post in the Veterans Club group at the time. Maybe 6,000 or 7,000 veterans were there. And we got like 15 veterans who were like, yeah, we'll go. So now I got to figure out how to get them all down there. And so I'm talking to churches, and I reached out to Jeremy, and I'm like, hey, we got a bunch of veterans from Veterans Club going to come help us load these trucks and then haul these supplies down to Louisiana. And so he's like, all right, we'll give you $1,000 and we'll be there to help you load them. So now we got 20 people helping us load them, and we've got the money, some of the money for an RV, for chainsaws. So the intent was we were going to go down, offload supplies, go to a separate location. We had a contact that did, he had a FEMA contract, and we were going to go do cleanup for him, right? Cut up trees, load up our trucks, take them to the local landfills, just get the roads cleared off. I mean, it was fresh. So the hurricane hit within 72 hours, we had boots on the ground in Louisiana. Wow. And a lot of that was because of the help of Veterans Club. So we kind of had built a relationship from that point forward. And we had the tornado situation in Western Kentucky. Yeah. And I told my wife, I said, Jeremy's going to call me. 10 minutes later, Jeremy's calling me, and he's like, we got to do something. I'm like, yep, I know. So we got it together. This time we took like 8 full truckloads. We had a full semi truck.
Oh my gosh.
40-foot flatbed, 3 box trucks. I mean, it was significant. And we were just trying to get down there. So within about 48 hours of that happening, we were in Mayfield and Dawson Springs. And then we went back again, and actually we found a church that had been destroyed. The insurance company wouldn't touch it until all of the debris was removed. So we went back down for 3 days, partnered with a local Amish group, and got it all cleared out for them. And so Jeremy made a comment. We shared an Airbnb. It was me, him, and the operations manager, and then my lead guy. And he made a comment like, "Man, you ought to be on the board," And he just said it on the side. And then I was like, okay. So I asked him, well, what's that entail? And he goes, I got you now. And so, 2 months later, they voted me on the board. And so, we're doing a lot of work now.
Put another iron in the fire on that
That's
one.
right.
Yeah, that's what you need, right?
Yeah, and, I'm passionate about it.
Absolutely.
I like to do that. The veteran group is, a community that I feel like I can kind of be myself in. And so it's been nice to have that, to be able to lead in that too. It's
awesome.
been really cool.
I know Jeremy talked about opportunities to get involved for even non-veterans too, and I'm totally interested in that. I did not serve, but I have huge respect for it, and we don't do enough for veterans once they get back here. What kind of opportunities are there to partner or serve or?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious, the elephant in the room is you could give to an organization, right? That's one way to serve. But we really want people to be engaged in our club. So we're always looking for volunteers for events, and you don't have to be a veteran to do that. Whether it's, hey, can you come man this booth for us while we go out and find veterans and offer our services to them, or can you come serve food at this event at our clubhouse? And it might only take you a couple hours, and you're around a lot of really good people. It's a good time. And so I kind of got engaged in doing that stuff too. I was never the type, I wanted to serve, but I wanted to do it in my own way. And since then, I've just kind of started to serve, right? Just serve. And my perspective has changed. And I've realized when I'm doing that, even if it's something I want to go serve food at this thing, I feel full, and I feel like I'm doing something good for our community. And so there's a ton of if you go follow Veterans Club, if you go on the Veterans Club Facebook page, last year they did 287 events.
Oh, wow.
Crazy. And so this year that might taper back some because we're trying to be very effective, right? But there's still going to be a ton of opportunity for veterans and non-veterans to come together and serve, right? And so that's what we're looking for. And, now we're open to first responders. And so we're really looking to bring in that community as well. It's a little different. There's a difference in veterans and first responders, but they share a lot of the same experiences.
There's an overlap for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they're in the streets every day. And so anyway, we're looking at building that community. So the more people that we can have come and serve, the more it allows us to be able to go and do that outreach and serve people well. So
we'll talk later about the possibility of getting involved. I spend time looking for ways to get involved. And we do some stuff with my family with like animals and such like that. And we foster and we volunteer, but it's not quite enough. And animals are harder to engage with. Yeah. They're not people.
Right.
So, and I like people.
Yeah, and people respond to human interaction, and the reality is, and we actually talked about this recently, having people that didn't serve, having their perspective and hearing that feedback is good. I mean, the reality is these guys they're not active duty military anymore, most of them, and they need to know what it's like to integrate back into being